Hello, everybody. Lady Ada, what is this?
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Show and Tell. It's me, Lady Ada, with me, Mr. Lady Ada on camera control. Thanks for some of the Adafruiters who've been running Show and Tell for the last couple of weeks, like to cycle out. So it's not just us, you get to see some fresh faces. So thanks to the people who are running it. But we're back, your OGs, original.
It's also hard to do these things.
Streamers.
The only way to get good at it is to do it, much like everything else. And so we like having this space for everyone every single Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, where folks can show and share their projects. And what's good is, even if you don't finish your project by Wednesday, we're back next Wednesday.
That's
or
right.
The Wednesday after that. And now we have more folks able to co-host and host. And hopefully soon we'll also have some special guests and other things. StreamYard, the service that we use, allows other people to host the streams themselves. And, you know, 'tis the season. We're going to try to have some fun guests as there's some new product announcements that people have asked us about. And we're like, oh, you could just come on the show and tell. So anywho.
So let's check in with some people. What are you guys up to? Let's go first to Jay from DigiKey. What are you up to?
Going on this week?
I am working on my crawler still. I got working with the controller. And I showed a bit off of it yesterday on Twitter.
Yeah, I saw that you're using the feather. Thank you.
Yeah, I've been trying to use something that's a bit different. So I was like, the feather could work. So got the feather working for this robot now. I had the head working earlier, but we had some like small issues. But other than that, everything else seems to be working pretty well for it. I'm actually really happy with it. It's going to be a wearable, of course.
Yeah.
And I'm just waiting to get some of the parts for the head to finish printing now. But
how do you liking the joystick wing?
I like it. It's very comfy. Like I printed out like a case for it.
Yeah, it looks good.
You know, wear it a little bit easier and stuff. But it makes it easier to control at least the basic movement for it, which I really enjoy because, you know, all the big stuff is this.
Yeah.
I have most of the wires coming out of the back.
Let us know if you have any ideas for any revisions too. Like we just we released a prop maker feather wing, and then we have a board that's going to go inside of a toy. And then, you know, you're doing this. I kind of feel like you're on the front lines, like kind of pushing the boundaries of what's possible with robot companions. So if something comes up that you're like, oh, it'd be really great to have like an extra port or a thing or an IR thing, let us know. We'll we have lots of revisions that we want to do on some of these.
Yeah, I have to just stack some more feather boards because I know they're stackable. So I want to see how much I can really, you know, do first before I like call it. Because the next, I just need something that can just play sound. I'll give it extra bit of more life. So I'm playing with it. I'm invisible. Hold on. I'm playing with it.
No, it's cool. It looks like that was part of your head. It looks like that. For a second, it looked like that Vegas footage of the alien land in someone's backyard. It's like, oh, look, it's you can kind of tell.
Yeah, but that's pretty much all I'm working on right now. I'm trying to get all the stuff done for open source, which is a month away, I think.
Yeah, they contacted us and they're like, can you come out and do a booth or something? We're like, we can't really travel right now, but I'm so happy that there's a giant event with a ton of makers because there's no maker fair right now in the Bay Area. So this is next best thing.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm really excited for it.
All right, Rad, and folks want to follow along your progress on this project. The tweetins, what's your favorite?
The Twitter and the Instagram is the best place to follow me right now. I do more updates there, somewhat on the TikTok, but I'm still scared of TikTok, so I'm there, but just
you should be scary.
It's a very scary place. But yeah, mostly on Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah, we follow you on all this. TikTok, we're trying to do more stuff in TikTok too, but it is like it's kind of a whole other world.
Yeah, it's another monster that the comment section scares me.
Yeah. All right. Well, you know, come back here. Come back here every week. This is a good place where all the comments are nice and happy.
Okay.
All right. I'll see you later, Jay.
Hey, Jay.
Okay, Jepler, what you got going on this week?
Hi. So actually bring me back and make me big for a second.
Okay, here you go.
You're big.
Be careful what you wish for. That was a movie.
The store a couple weeks ago got these jog wheels or MPGs or whatever you call them. And I'm like, well, we need to make a little enclosure and turn it into a USB HID thing with CircuitPython. And so now I want to show you, there's a lot of stuff on Learn and some of the articles are a little long. And just, I want to show you how much time this can save.
Okay.
So yeah, bring back. Watch how fast I can get through this. You know, normally you're just scrolling, but you really go to town with this.
Wow.
Now I know everything about CircuitPython.
That is really cool. Actually,
I know Kung Fu.
So funny, speaking of, since Jay just mentioned TikTok, so the whole idea is you scroll through and it just goes. And someone made a Bluetooth ring. It's a wireless ring, and you can keep it on your finger and you click, and it goes to the next thing and the next thing, and all of a sudden you're in like conspiracy theories and stuff like that on TikTok. But and then you go to the next one. But I don't like that interface. I think this would be better to go through and scroll through a feed.
Wasn't there like a Griffin PowerMate was like
that was from a long time ago.
Yeah, it was basically this, and it got discontinued. You could remake it.
This is really cool.
This
would be really handy for those PDFs that are really long too. That are just
there's tons of room for something like this.
What I like about it is that there's like the quick jog wheel, but there's also like you can grip it and go very slowly.
Yeah, it's a very responsive, like just physically it's nice to touch, and every click does one. Totally
banana.
Totally dependable, unlike your touchpad with the two fingers. It's always a little janky.
That's super cool.
I'm glad that you made something for yourself.
Yeah. I'll share some design files over on our Discord.
Okay.
All right. Thanks so much, Jepler. That's a cool project.
All right. Good night.
All right, Brent. What you got going on this week?
Trying to figure out how long it would take to use Jeff's scroll wheel to scroll the guide that I wrote for Adafruit.
How many scrolls does it take to get to the end of a guide? Let's find out.
All of them. So this past few months, I guess, I've been working on getting displays working with Adafruit whippersnappers. So like, here's a funhouse. It's set up. It has a lot of stuff going on. So it has like a temperature sensor built in, humidity sensor, a light sensor, push button, and an LED. So like, I'll change my camera, and then Phil, if you can make me the camera and then the screen stuff. This is what it currently looks like. It's like this is what you would get if you install whippersnapper. Like there's no screen. It's just blank and it's sending data to I/O. But this is going to be the next release. So it turns on, it validates the credentials, connects to Wi-Fi. So these are all things that's been doing already. But there was no screen, and we kind of like this screen. It's useful for figuring out when users have invalid Wi-Fi credentials or invalid Adafruit IO credentials, and then it starts logging out what happens. So it will show whenever a pin is configured. It will show when things are happening from the IO side on the device, and then it also shows the device to IO. And I have it logging out data, and it like scrolls upwards. And every single time something gets sent to I/O or is received from I/O. So for example, I have the button set up here. So if I press the button,
I'm trying so hard to get all these to line up.
If you look at the push button on the I/O page,
I'll get to that.
You'll see that it's real time, which is really neat. So like, and then you'll see like the temperature sensor gets read. So like, you have a representation of what's going on the device and on the screen, which is really nice. So like people will be able to start using this, and we can, for the feathers, we'll do a port, and the battery gauge will be useful. Like Funhouse doesn't have an external battery, but the feathers do. So we'll be able to monitor battery life, Wi-Fi, SSID, and then eventually do even cooler things than just display like an output from the device. It's like cool to see what the device is emitting rather than just like hope that it's sending something out.
I like how good it looks. I mean, this is LVGL you're using?
Yeah, so this is all LVGL like under the hood. And then you can actually, you can see like when the CPU spikes is actually when like data is being sent, like it jumps a little bit. But yeah, it's all LVGL under the hood and built on top of the whippersnapper firmware.
Yeah, and right now we have it, we chatted, oh my God, this is
the only layout.
Yeah, we can't have two screen shares.
It doesn't like trying to add two. Anyways.
But what we're gonna do is we chat with Brent. Right now it's just scrolling status. It's like, okay, like data being sent back and forth, I2C, whatever, scan initiated. And also the status bar at the top. But what we want to do eventually is have it maybe be like programmable with Blockly to change what's actually showing on the graphical interface. You can have like custom gauges or graphs or displays. Because the reason we're using LVGL, because like with what we have right now, there's no reason to use LVGL, right? Because it's just text, and you can do that really easily. But once we get to the more advanced UX elements, that's when I think LVGL is going to really shine. Not that it isn't good now with all the fonts and tabs and stuff, but it would be really cool when it's like, okay, we can have a gauge, we can have a plot that's automatically scrolling, we can have multiple buttons or sliders, we can have an interface. It can be interesting.
And then like someone can interact with it and like sort through buttons on, like they can cycle through the screens. Like LVGL enables someone to, or like for the Pi portal, they can do button presses.
Yeah,
it has a lot of flexibility.
Yeah, LVGL is very powerful. So it's like, I know that you've learned a lot about, about using it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Also this week, if you're someone out there who's using LVGL and ESP32 and you're like, why can't I use Wi-Fi with LVGL and ESP32?
Why?
The Adafruit LVGL glue library, which is our library for like all of it glues LVGL into our displays. So if you want to use an Adafruit display with LVGL and you want to use Wi-Fi on ESP32, now you can. Just download the latest version. Right. I have an example for using it as well.
Yay!
That's super nice of you.
All right, thanks, Brent.
Contributing back.
Yeah, a lot of the things that we do is we find all the frustrations and things don't work, so you don't have to. So if you want to spend like 80 hours, we're like, how come this doesn't work? We probably ran into that, and this is probably a good solution. So also, someone said this in the chat. I was going to mention it too. The text of the screen looks really good. So nice work on that.
Yeah.
I haven't changed. It looks really crisp. I thought I would change it to monospaced font. Maybe I will. I don't know. I've just got everything.
You can fit more text in a non-mono space. I would say, especially for small displays, don't go mono.
Yeah, this is using their built-in font.
It's not a bad font.
No, it's okay.
Do they do anti-aliasing? I think they do, right?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
And then you got some kudos in the chat that we're doing some LVGL stuff. So folks.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. All right, Brent. Well, thanks so much, and keep coming back with
cool
updates and more. This is a cool demo. Let me get a full screen on this because I couldn't do it professionally. It's really nice.
Yeah, so you can see the status bar, and I think the IP address normally is at the top. Maybe we can't read it. And then,
I don't have it printing out. Maybe I can.
Oh yeah, add the IP address so people can see like what the device is. That'd be handy.
Folks in chat said yes, subpixel font support, but you have to generate each format plus size. So you can do it, but you've got some other work to do.
Because then you can fit like even more text because it's like squishing it together. But yeah, there's a status bar and there's like battery life, SSI, Wi-Fi status, and then connectivity. That's the green turtle. And then right now we're just doing scroll. This was like, let's just get the scrolling data. That's useful. And then more to come. I mean, like it was a big lift to get to here. And a lot of it's also workflow. LVGL is big and ESP is slow to compile for. And like having a really tight workflow is so key. And you're using the emulator, right, to design this? Yeah,
so I design everything in the emulator. Well, I started designing everything in Figma, and then I brought that over to the emulator and then brought the code from the emulator to hardware, which seems like annoying, but it allows you to get like kind of like pixel perfect layouts, which is really nice for doing embedded development. Like you really don't get that too often.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It looks very good, very polished.
All right, good work, Brent.
A lot better than I would have done. Okay, cool.
Oops. Yeah, I remember maybe it was like almost 10 years ago when we were talking about like, because you would get asked and I'd get asked like, what's the future of microcontrollers? I remember saying like, it's going to be a screen, a battery, a scripting language, and wireless. And like, here we are. It's taken like 10 years and low cost. And so here we are. We've arrived.
And the thing is, it's like, it's one thing. I'll say that there's other companies that have tried to do this. And it's one thing to have a demo and there's another thing to have a fully functioning back end and configurable front end. Like it's designed to not be brittle. Like you can add more boards. We could add more.
Oh no, I've seen amazing demos.
I've seen amazing demos. It's like playing
Jenga. It's like, okay, now
it does that one thing and that one thing only.
And it's maxed.
This is totally configurable. And so I think it's, a lot more work has to go into it. Cause I was like, okay, think about like Brent and I and Lauren.
How can other people?
We're always talking about like, okay, how can we make sure that we'll be able to do this? And I said, what if you wanted to change, like, decide to use LVGL, we went through like every single permutation of what we want the final solution to be for working with whippersnapper and displays,
Yeah.
and like e-ink and OLED and TFTs and all high resolution, low resolution. So we had to chat about it to make it configurable. What if it's soldered in?
We ate the glass, so you don't need to.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep going.
Eating glass.
And what you got going on this week? Oh, and you're muted.
I apologize.
There you go.
I just quickly wanted to show a revision. I had shown this PCB art badge, and it was good, and the circuit worked, but it wasn't 100%. So enter in revision 2, which the solder mask is correct. You have to. There's some tricks and tips as far as you can't put silk screen onto copper. You need the solder mask underneath so it stays. Little tricks like that in order to try to get things going. So that and the battery footprint was upside down. It still worked because of the orientation of the part, but I just corrected that. So I got these from DHL today, and soldered one up, and it works just great. So I will be tweaking the guide that I did, and probably adding some, these are some gotchas that you might want to look for when you're looking to make something like this. And from here, I'm moving on to another PCB project, but that should be coming out in not too long.
Okay, and the most important question, Anne, is, I know that your life partner is an employee at NASA, right? Or JPL?
My wife is a contractor at Kennedy Space Center, yes.
Okay, so she just, did you give her one? Does she approve of this?
Well, I do plan to give her one. Now, NASA's kind of particular on their meatball logo and stuff. It's not like super copyrighted, all this stuff, but they don't like it changed. And I'm not exactly sure. This revision makes it a lot closer to what it should be. But I will give her one, and she can do whatever she wants with it. Yes. She needs some decoration in her office.
Okay, see, there you go. Make hundreds of these. Okay, cool. Well, more to come. And then you also posted there's some PCB giveaways for students, teenage students who are learning PCB design. So your guide came right in time, perfect for people who want to build their first PCB. You might be able to get it made for you for free by this grant.
Yeah, check out the blog. It's listed there. If you've got a high school student that might be interested in PCBs, it doesn't have to be art necessarily, but you can combine art and circuits, and that's a really cool thing. Check that out. They're actually giving away $100 for each person, which is plenty for like 2 or 3 revisions, and get your design made.
All right,
sweet.
Good work. Meatball logo is one of my faves.
Meatball versus worm.
Yeah. All right, thanks, Ann.
Okay.
Okay.
Nice work.
All right, JP, what you got going on?
Hey, so I've got some of this PlayStation controller stuff going on, which has been a lot of fun. And the latest thing, so this kind of started when Phil found this wild thing online, which is a Game of Life controller, kind of roulette wheel Game of Life controller.
Yeah, it's like a...
and so I wanted to turn this into a mouse clicker, super fast mouse clicker. Looked around, and there were some existing Arduino libraries and one CircuitPython library that seemed to have some issues with how I wanted to approach this. So Todd Kurt went and wrote a really nice CircuitPython PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 1 or PSX controller library that's in the community bundle now. I had it running on Pico at first, and then I decided it was time to smallify things. So I got it running this morning on a QtPy RP2040. And this was just sort of controller or jumper wires crammed into the controller end. But now I'm kind of headed towards the final thing, the real deal, which is going to be this. So this is the port side, and this is the controller side of this one right here. So this will plug right in, And now I have this really neat little dongle that can plug into USB. And so I can send PlayStation commands as USB HID. It could be MIDI, could be game port stuff, but this is just sending mouse clicks and USB HID key presses. So I'm going to finish this up. I'm documenting this right now, but it's a really sort of compact little thing. I think I'm going to do some hot glue and heat shrink tubing to make that all in one little part there. And I'm going to put together a guide that'll show you both how to use this wacky thing if you want to go and grab one of these on eBay, or the PlayStation or PlayStation 2 controller, which
Can you show the controller again? So when I saw this, I actually didn't understand what it was. I thought it was like for a video game or something where you had to like use a color wheel and you would just like turn it to the color or something like that. I'm just like,
so what it turns out to be is the same thing as in the middle of the Game of Life board, which you spin to decide how many spaces you're going to move. It's a rotary encoder, an optical encoder rather, that just counts the pretty much. I think it figures out the speed of your spin here using this little sensor here. So it's beaming out some light.
It's a reflective sensor.
Little optical sensor. And then what I think it does is internally, what I've decided it's doing, I could be wrong, but what I think it's doing is it can tell you've moved that fast enough to count, because it doesn't bother with it just kind of moving a little bit, which is good. It would be annoying. So if that goes fast enough for it to register, I believe it comes up with 2 randomized pulse lengths of pressing the circle button. So it emits the circle key and it essentially holds it and holds it again. I think since this was designed just for one game in particular, that was the best they could come up with for saying, we want to give someone like anywhere from 5 to 17 spaces that their character moves or whatever it is. So that seems to be what it is. It sends 2 pulses of anywhere from like 8 to 14, and then in the game, I think it uses those. So what I get out of that is a whole bunch of mouse clicks, which I've demonstrated on here before, and I've shown on the show. But it's also kind of a neat little PlayStation controller. I was playing emulated NES game with it.
It's a weird like Galapagos Island like controller that had its own evolutionary tree.
Like the index finger buttons are like on the top.
Yeah, these are the shoulder buttons here. It's so wacky.
We have a whole collection of weird controllers, and I'll usually like message JP. I'm like, hey, pick this one up. Usually like they're less than the cost of shipping because people just have these and they're like, it doesn't work with anything. These are really good to interface with microcontrollers, especially if you're in like a teaching environment or if you just want to learn a bunch of stuff on your own, because like you're never going to construct one of these to
not as robust as these things are. I mean, you can hammer nails with a regular PlayStation controller.
And there's like they're injection molded and like you could do all sorts of weird stuff. And it might be fun to like figure out some other interfaces with modern apps. Like we have that, Jepler showed the scroller thing. There's all sorts of weird things that you can do. But I like at first I'm just like, oh, this is like a color picker, but it's a roulette wheel.
Turns out, it's fun to guess and then buy it and see what the heck the thing is. So this one also has a little A/B switch to, it seems like, just turn on and off the functionality of this. That's the only thing I can tell that it does.
It has a little thing that it goes tick 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 tick. Maybe it's like a Wheel of Fortune thing too.
Totally has the little. You can get a nice spin if you remove that.
Ooh.
It'll go forever and ever.
So weird, but it doesn't detect the color. So like, what's the point?
It's a gimmick. I think it's a gimmick for this Game of Life that they made 3 or 4 versions for over the course of PSX and PS2. Japanese only. I'm kind of tempted to get the game for like $7 just so I can plug it in, hopefully get far enough not reading Japanese to be able to spin that and watch it do something. So maybe that'll be a follow-on later.
All right. Well, thanks so much, JP, and I admire your restraint from turning it into a mini device.
It's for once.
I told him he couldn't. I was like, yeah, do something else.
All right.
Little restraint.
Okay, Pedro, what you got going on this week?
Hey guys, just wanted to show off this week's 3D printed project inspired by that new game everyone seems to be playing, the Ultrahand from Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. So this is using the LED nudes, and I just 3D printed these channels that fit into like the whole like assembly. So 2 pieces, and we got 3 of the 300 millimeter long noodles just soldered in series end to end, and then just powered by a 9-volt battery. And then for the palm part, it's just a coin cell. Yeah,
it looks cool.
yeah, it's super cool, nice and comfortable. Some people are saying, oh, you can make it out of leather, but I don't know how to sew, so modeling.
That.
Too. And then, of course, the kiddo wanted one, so I had to make a little one. So
yeah, I mean, that's cool.
Yeah, I started playing, and then like it's a giant game. There's no way for an adult with a job to be playing that thing. So I don't know how I figured it out. I cannot keep playing that. So I gave him the controller.
Yeah, one thing that I don't know if anyone's talked about with this game, and then we'll bounce, but you know, the Switch is kind of old, and this game can do more than I think almost any video game I've seen. Like, how is it possible?
It makes me think of like, you know, remember Super Mario Brothers 3 was like used every single hack of the original Nintendo.
It's like multiplayer. Remember stuff. You can go back in time. You can do all this stuff. It's like that's on like a
full physics
it's like a 5-year-old.
He's like an
piece of hardware.
7 or something.
Yeah, and like meanwhile, like my Mac Pro
things. Yeah, the way things don't fall apart when you construct them and it still works. The physics, oh my god, it's insane. Anyway, like I gave him the controller, let him play for a while. He was like, okay, you got to make the Ultrahand. So, there you go. It's completely editable. So it's just like it's like 4 circles that you just edit it, and you can just measure your arm, and it can update to that.
Maybe when our kiddo is like 7 or 8, we can.
Well, the Switch is probably it's still going to be around.
We'll have like another OLED update.
Amazing game, yeah.
Yeah, so from 3 to 10, I think, is what the small one fits, and you can make it smaller than that. But yeah, super cool.
I love the first game, so I can imagine the Ultrahand is like, you know, a new controller. I mean, the look. I remember the look of like the 8-chip technology had that cool green, blue, red glow to it. It's a great. I mean, here's the thing. It's like normally you do this with EL wire, and it would really suck. It would be really annoying. So I think the nudes are a great solution. Yeah, they're not loud. They're not. It's not stiff. It doesn't break, and it doesn't electrocute you.
Yeah. So we shot this out in bright sunlight, and you could see it perfectly. The camera might not have picked it up as bright as it was in real life, but man, it looks beautiful outside in the sun. Yeah, that's the project. All the files are available online. You can edit it to your heart's content. And
cool.
All right. Thanks so much, Pedro.
Thanks, guys.
All right. That is our show and tell for the week this week. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. This is our favorite half an hour of the week when we're able to do it. And we were, once again, special thanks to the Adafruit team who is guest hosting. We try to switch these off once in a while. We very much appreciate it. And thanks for the community who shows up, shows and shares our projects. Come back Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. and bring a project by or whatever, retro computing. A little bit of everything every single week here on the show and tell. Ask an Engineer starts in like 2 minutes.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.